This is Gradowski here in Thailand, and of course I have to make a video about Trump's travel ban. There's a lot of disinformation, propaganda, and hysteria surrounding this issue, but there's a very important fact that not many people understand that is very concerning to me, that goes all the way back to a DoD Pentagon plan from 2002 that you need to understand when it comes to the 7 countries that Donald Trump has just signed an executive order on setting up travel restrictions. And as we know now, even people with visas, some dual citizens, even residents, and some green card holders are restricted from traveling to the United States from these 7 countries. This, of course, created an outcry with many people protesting at airports, protesting travel restrictions by restricting travel on everybody else. And as we just found out, there's a federal court that issued an emergency halt to Donald Trump's executive action, which will spark a very interesting legal battle that we're going to be covering very closely on this YouTube channel. But I have to ask, where was the outrage? Where was the protest when Barack Obama was bombing these countries and destabilizing them, making them more radical? The debate has now turned to whether this is a Muslim ban or not. Some people are saying it's not because the top 5 Muslim populated countries are not on the list. But then we had Rudolph Giuliani go on Fox News and say,
okay, talk to me.
Tell you the whole history of it. So
right.
When he first announced it, he said Muslim ban. He called me up. He said, put a commission together. Show me the right way to do it legally.
Now, my first issue of concern, why is Donald Trump going to neoconservative shill Rudolph Giuliani for these major decisions? The second point is, these countries that Donald Trump picked actually came from a very similar law that Barack Obama passed in December of 2015, setting up visa restrictions on these countries. But it's not just the same echoes of Barack Obama. It's also George W. Bush, because as Partisan Girl pointed out, these same 7 countries that Donald Trump put a travel restriction on are the same 7 countries that U.S. General and former NATO commander Wesley Clark whistleblowed on and exposed how there was a DoD Pentagon plan all the way back in 2002 in order to destroy and destabilize those countries.
And by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
It's happening now. Is there a follow-up? Is there any information you know or any thoughts on the speech you gave?
Now, this issue is very concerning because we've seen George W. Bush's foreign policy, Barack Obama's foreign policy, fail to go after Saudi Arabia for being the chief exporter of terrorism. This is where 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers came from. This is the country that has been exposed in the 28 pages for having Saudi Arabian agents orchestrate and help pull off the terrorist attacks of 9/11. Saudi Arabia, the same country that has armed and financed radical Islamists and ISIS inside of Syria. And that's why many people are saying, if you're gonna ban countries for extremism, why the hell is Saudi Arabia not on this list? And why are we seeing the same ethos that have been pushed forward by George W. Bush, that have been continued by Barack Obama, being perpetrated by Donald J. Trump now, who promised he wouldn't continue the same failed foreign policy initiatives that we've seen from Barack Obama? So while the left and right argue, lying in order to protect their tribal side, whether pro and against Trump, I'm sitting back here and saying, wait, we're seeing the same foreign policy being continued here. We're seeing the same things being carried out and done in this country in our name that we've seen before. What the hell is happening here, especially with the military-industrial complex? And this information needs to be called out. If this video resonated with you, share it with your friends and family members, because this truth needs to get out there to the general public. If you enjoyed what you've seen, make sure to support us on patreon.com/wearechange, because we are beholden to the truth only because we are beholden to you and your donations sustaining this independent media operation on patreon.com/wearechange. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more important, hard-hitting, unbiased news coming your way here on youtube.com/wearechange.